What's good, German985? I'm your guide Q. Welcome to some Am I the Antagonist? We got some spicy ones today, so strap yourself into your seatbelt chair and let's get into it. Good God, this is rough. Would I be the antagonist if I, female 19, moved out without telling my parents that I'm pregnant and went to live with my boyfriend? I, female 19, am currently living with my mother and father and siblings in our family home. My mother allowed me to take a gap year and go to college next year and think about what I want to do. A few months ago, my friend took me to a birthday party of a friend she knew from work, John. It was John's 40th birthday and we really hit it off and started dating pretty quickly. I lost my V card with him, I was 19 at the time, so it's all perfectly fine, and we've been in a relationship ever since. That was 4 months ago. Unfortunately, he had to move away recently and he moved to Alaska and we decided to just be in a long-distance relationship. Unfortunately, I found out that I was pregnant and John offered me to move in with him and raise the child together. I was elated. But the thing is, I don't think my mother will approve. She is from a very religious background. No, she won't kick me out. My oldest sister was in a similar situation a few years back and they helped her. But she won't like that John is older, and that we are unmarried. She may require me to get married to John, but I don't think John will want to as he hasn't gotten his divorce finalized yet. Anyway, I thought about this and decided that moving out without telling them that I am pregnant would be the best thing to do because then I can decide what to do on my own. I've got some money saved from working part-time and birthdays that I bought myself a ticket to John in Alaska. I was telling my friend about plans and she called me a massive asshole and told me I should speak to my mother. But my sister said the same thing and even threatened to tell my mother. I don't know anymore. Am I really the asshole for wanting to hide this? Okay, so I'm just gonna say right off the bat, I don't think it's important who is an asshole in this situation. I think it's just about this girl being 19 and being extremely inexperienced and just not knowing what the hell is going on here. She is pregnant, this dude is literally twice her age, which maybe she doesn't understand how weird that is right now, but once she's 40 and she looks at a 19-year-old, she's gonna be like, what the fuck was going on there? And she's talking about moving to the most isolated state in the union with a man she has known for 4 months. Like, she thinks this is a good idea because she can decide what to do on her own, but she will also be being influenced by this much older man who she is completely isolated with. Like, this is just an extremely dangerous situation in my opinion, and this person is not the asshole, they're just being irresponsible because they don't have enough experience to see how fucked up this is. Ooh, this one's spicy and right up my alley, baby. Am I the antagonist for insulting my brother's fiance the same way she insults others? So, this drama revolves around my brother's fiance, Sarah. Sarah is dramatic and gossipy. It always has to be something with her. She's always talking about someone else in a negative light behind their backs, and I cannot stand it, to tell you the truth. However, I put it aside because she is my future sister-in-law and I just want to keep the peace. I and my sisters have a girls' night out once a month. When my other brother married his wife Angie, we started to invite her out with us as well because we all like her. When Sarah learned about these nights, she asked to join us once she was engaged and we all agreed, even though most of us don't like her. Sarah has never liked Angie, which has always made the nights harder to deal with because Sarah will just ignore her. Angie is an angel and puts up with it though. Last week, Angie was sick and missed the night. Sarah took it as an opportunity to trash talk her all night. Angie does not have a college degree, she only has her GED, and Sarah would not shut up about how much of a moron she was all night. Sarah has her master's in biology, and intelligence is one of her favorite things to insult people on. Well, after I got a bit drunk, I had enough of it. Angie is one of the sweetest people I've ever met, and has never once said a bad thing about Sarah. After Sarah finished one of her insults about Angie being the farthest from traditionally intelligent, I said, "Is the reason you're insulting Angie here like a coward because she's traditionally beautiful and you're the furthest from it? Sarah's about 300 pounds and by all regards quite ugly. This is a massive trigger point for her as well, as I know she has emotional issues surrounding her weight. We got into a fight, I ended up tearing her appearance apart point by point until she was visibly near tears." I'm sorry that I'm laughing. It's just, it's a weird situation. In the end, I told her that I'm doing exactly what she does when she gossips about other people. I only talked about her like she talks about others, just to her face, unlike her. The night was pretty much ruined by this, and we all just went home separately. Well, now all hell is broken loose. Sarah's demanding an apology, and I will not give it to her. My sisters agree that what I said is directly in line with what Sarah says about others, but disagree with me and said I should not have lowered myself to her level. Last night I got a call from my brother, and now Sarah is threatening to postpone their marriage if I don't apologize, which in my opinion says more about her than anything I could have said. But I actually feel bad now that I have the time to think about it. Okay, I'm about to say a bunch of shit about being pragmatic in a later story, so I do have to be consistent with that and say if your intention was to keep the peace, this was a horrible mistake. If it was your brother's fiance, like, that's gonna be an issue moving forward. However, outside of that, this Sarah person is just a complete fucking bully, and I love to see bullies get taken down. Like, does it feel bad to get absolutely shit on to your face about the thing that you are most insecure about? Good. That's how you make other people feel, by the things that you say. Like, you can't just dish out all this shit and expect to never be fucking poked and prodded back. Like, I just don't know what Sarah was ever expecting talking all this shit. All right, this is... Am I the antagonist because I told my husband's ex-GF to stop calling him for help? My husband's ex-GF dumped him for another man 4 years ago, and she still calls him for help. Now, I found out she caught her new man in the act of having adult fun time with another woman earlier this year because she still talks to my sister-in-law and, unfortunately, about me and my husband. So now the calls started again. I text and said stop calling my husband. She gaslit me and said there's nothing wrong with them being friends because they go way back. They have no kids together or any ties. She has a history of home wrecking because she busted up his marriage when they got together. She says I'm being childish. I say she's being disrespectful. What do you say? I say your life is a fucking nightmare. Holy shit, dude. Like, I really wish we had the ages of the people in this situation, because this sounds like some shit that would happen in a high school. Like, you're saying that this ex-girlfriend has a history of home wrecking because your husband cheated on his previous wife with her, and that's how they ended up being in a relationship, and now she's coming back in. Like, I do think that it's weird for her to be calling him, and I dislike that, and I wouldn't be comfortable with that in a relationship, but you should also be turning a side eye at your husband because he also has a history of wrecking his own home. So what is going on? This is just awful. Alright, I'm interested to see what people think on this one. Am I the antagonist for telling my friend's GF I thought she was a little fat? My best friend Nick, 22 male, and his GF Marta, 22, and I, 21 male, were hanging out in his basement after smoking a bowl together. She asked him unprompted, "Babe, do you think I'm fat?" Nick, being the dutiful boyfriend, responded, "Of course not, babe." And then she turned to me and asked, "OP, do you think I'm fat?" Now, here's the thing. I strive to be a very candid person. I will not hesitate to speak my truth because I believe it is almost always better to be frank with people than to tiptoe around what you actually feel. In my experience, avoiding the truth often leads to confusion and/or pain. Of course, I don't want to be an asshole, so if I'm gonna say something I think could be taken poorly, I try to be as nice as possible while also remaining candid. Back to the basement. I didn't find Marta very fat. I definitely wouldn't call her obese or anything, but a little chubby? Yes. I knew if I told her this directly she would probably get upset, so I asked her in response, "Do you want my honest opinion?" She said she did, so I gave it. My exact words were, "I'd like to preface this by saying that in no way it affects how I view you as a person. I don't think that weight is a good measure of who someone is. That being said, a little bit, yes." She got really quiet and it was kind of awkward. I was about to leave anyway, so I went home soon after. Later, Nick texts me and says I really upset Marta and I owe her an apology for what I said. I don't think I did anything wrong. The way I see it, she asked for my honest opinion and I gave it. Just because she didn't like what my opinion was doesn't mean I was wrong to give it. Fishing for compliments doesn't always go the way you want it to. I've gone to other impartial friends, both men and women, to get their opinions, and they've been pretty split, so I'm asking Reddit, am I the asshole? Alright, so people might dislike my response to this, but my response is based purely in trying to give advice to someone that might find themselves in a social situation like this and may tend to be a very candid person who likes to be honest. And I'm just trying to give advice on how to provide the least negative outcomes for you and your best friend Nick in this situation. If this were a logical court of law, obviously this person is not in the wrong. They were asked for their honest opinion and they gave it. But relationships, friendships, social situations, stuff involving your best friend's partner, these are not a logical court of law, and you need to analyze it and kind of figure out, hey, what's actually going on here? And in my experience, 95% of the time, the type of person that asks, do you think I'm fat, really only wants to be validated. They do not want your honest response, and as cringy as fishing for compliments like that is, you need to read the situation as, okay, this is my best friend's girlfriend. How is me being honest here actually going to provide any sort of positive outcome for anybody in this situation? And then say, maybe I should just hold my tongue. There's really nothing to fucking gain here. Because in a situation like this, at the end of the day, yes, you might be right, you didn't do anything wrong logically, but now your best friend has to deal with his girlfriend being upset, who, yes, might be cringy in this specific way, but maybe she's awesome in a bunch of other ways, and now you've caused an issue with their relationship and your future hangouts with them. Got a Cringetopia video on the top, bad Minecraft creepypastas on the bottom, and lovely channel members to the left. I hope everybody's doing super well, skating on to the best of your abilities, drinking a lot of water, and I'll see you super soon. Peace out, Cub Scouts.